Knockouts typically come from mistakes being made, but today you're going to learn something new about knockouts.
Now, how exactly do you think that knockdown happened? Now, I'm going to challenge you because what you're thinking is more than likely not exactly what caused that knockdown. Most of you think that what caused that knockdown is a skill, but what I'm going to do is preface that it wasn't a skill. This was something much deeper than what you could see happening inside of the ring, and that's exactly what I'm about to explain to you. But before I get started, I got to introduce myself. Before I give you a pearl that's going to actually change your vantage point of what you see in boxing. So if you are a trainer, this is going to be a pearl. And if you're a competitive athlete, then this is going to give you one leg up on your opposition. But before I get started and start talking about this or that, I have to be respectful of your time and introduce myself. For those of you who are new to the channel, your time's valuable to me. First and foremost, I myself have done 4 decades in the sport of boxing. I've got the opportunity to work with over 40 champions in this sport. I took all of the education from those camps, and guess what I did? I've written over 30 how-to books so that people who are coming along today won't have the same issues that I ran into on my come up. I took that and I created mentorship and boxing programs. These are the things that I hang my hat on. So when it's all said and done, over 30 books, over 40 training camps in 4 decades, and I was able to add 3 former world champions to my advisory board today. And these are the things that I say, allow me to speak to you on this topic at hand. What you saw was not skills related. The reason why this fighter was able to create this knockout, boxing triggers the sympathetic nervous system. And that's exactly what came into play. You know, the reality is, this is something that several of us know, kind of on the down low. There was something that I did to actually trigger this scenario to happen. It was really the first phase of this happening, and it was when this fighter came on to my show. And before this fight happened, he was pretty confident that he was going to win this fight. But what I did to trigger the sympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system is when the brain goes into fight or flight mode. The adrenaline increases, the heart rate, cortisol levels, the oxygen levels expand, the eyes sharpen and laser in on the opposition. So basically, the sympathetic nervous system puts you in go mode. I'm going to tell you the story because this was interesting. The young man is a very, very cocky guy. He has a big ego, and he knew in his own heart of hearts that he was going to win this fight. The reason why I triggered this is because I actually wanted him to win the fight when he got the fight, and this was right before the fight happened. So I had former world champion Tony Zell's niece on the feed with me, who was my co-host, and 2-time world champion, my man Otis Griffin. What we did is basically put him in this place, and I lined him up, and we did a film study. Let's see what it looks like.
When you get a cutie in the ring, you got to throw charm in the water. A fishing term meaning throw the guts in the water, and like a shark, you attack.
And I wanted to explain to him the difference between the fighters that he's about to fight now. Lineal champion. He had all 4 belts, and he had just taken them from Lomachenko. What I wanted him to understand is who he fought before was not going to prepare him for who he was in the ring with now. So therefore, during the film study, I poked the bear, and I made him think about things that he actually wasn't thinking about, therefore triggering this neuron and making his mind recalibrate. And these are the things that I did in camp. The first camp I was able to do that in was a championship fight. And the coach who I was head trainer for tapped me and told me, you need to call this shot. I had to use my voice. So everyone has a little superpower. That's mine. I understand communication. So this triggered the young man, and when he went back into camp, which his camp was maybe 20 miles from where I stay, I understood that that was going to trigger some things. And we went in depth with the film study, and the video is actually over on YouTube if you want to look at it. I'll actually put the link down in the description so you can check it out yourself. You can see how I press buttons, and I made the resistance real because I actually know if you're going to fight at the world-class level, it's not like fighting in the top 25. New levels, new devils, and I prepared him to be triggered for the devil. So once this conversation happened, what kicked in from that point was this next term, and this will give you enlightenment on what is happening when you're training in your life and you plateau, but no matter what you do, you can't get over that hurdle. You can't lose the weight. Everything locks in. We just had a fighter who recently could not lose weight, and they don't understand what it is. Well, this next term is going to explain it. And the term is neuroplasticity. This is your actual nervous system. Let me frame this up for you so whenever you're sharing it with somebody, you actually sound like you know what you're talking about and you can actually apply it to your own life. See, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself by forming a new connection between brain cells, neurons, in response to experience, learning, and repetition. Now, jot that down because this is what's going to open your eyes. Think about being in an airplane and the airplane's actually going down, or you're standing on top of the Empire State Building and someone pushes you over. Think about what will go through your mind. Well, that's exactly what's going on whenever your nervous system is out of whack. You remember back at the beginning, sympathetic nervous system is half of the nervous system. The other half is the anatomic nervous system. So now, if you don't understand how to control this, you can't lose weight. You can't get good sleep. You cannot stop feeling anxiety. Whenever you're training, and you continue to hit plateaus, is because the wires are not connecting from one neuron to the next. A lot of people think that muscle memory is the all and end all. We can go back as recently as Tank versus Lamont Roach. What you were witnessing was not Tank lacking skills. What you were witnessing there was Tank being a victim of neuroplasticity. Everything that he knew froze and locked up. He could not connect one dot to the next. That's the rewiring process that the brain actually has to go through. And if it can't, that means your neuroplasticity has kicked in and your actual process has been interrupted. Think of the mind as a galaxy. The mind has so many different chambers that you can't even compare muscle memory to the mind. What's in the mind is what we call neuromuscular memory, not muscle memory. That's why when you go out here and you're doing pad work and from one set to the next, you can't remember what the pad work is. And the reason why this is because boxing is the most demanding exercise or sport that there is today. There are many chambers, and here's one. How you can look at it is like this. Because you're in constant demand of learning new skills, punch combos, slips, rolls, weaves, footwork patterns, pivots, all of these different things. The second thing is you're always reacting under pressure. Now, what other environment are all of these things playing a role in? Exactly. This is why neuroplasticity kicks in every single time. You're reacting under pressure. Now, you're reading movements of your opposition, anticipating punches, and making split-second decisions. The third component of the triggers of neuroplasticity are coordinating complex movements. You're putting things together in sequences. See, the brain is sending signals to the eyes, the hands, the feet, the core, all at one time. Last but not least, timing, speed, accuracy equals increased neural efficiency. Now this is all coming together, and you can stop being insecure about moments and understand the process of developing what we call muscle memory. And so there you have it. When I tapped into this young man's when we were on the call, what I said is to make sure that you understand how to ignite these things. And a lot of people think we teach boxing, but what we actually do is teach you all of the neurological chambers, where it's sympathetic nervous system, neuroplasticity. One way or the other, you can't confuse muscle memory with neuromuscular memory, which none of the athletes or most of the trainers aren't aware of why the skills that they're working on are not transferring into the ring. It's the lack of wiring. All of these different components of developing an athlete or developing a human being will be the reason that guy shows up in the ring and you don't know what's going on with him. So this is what will happen. He will freeze up. He will not be able to do what it is that he does normally on a regular basis, just like Tank versus Lamont Roach. When you've seen that happen, the person in front of this individual throws a monkey wrench in the way he thinks, his thought process. So therefore, without a good instructor in the corner that actually understands how to rescue him from this situation, this is what we call fight or flight, panic mode, and nothing works. And you saw it firsthand.
I'm sure you've heard the news. There's a way to become unbeatable in the ring.